Picture this, waking up in Istanbul, the city that rises between two continents. A few days later, you stand in the shadow of Pyramids of Giza, one of the last surviving wonders of the ancient world. By the end of the week, you're in Santorini, watching the kind of sunset that poets, painters, and travelers have chased for centuries. This isn't a dream. This is 10 days on Norwegian Viva, from Turkey to Greece, from Cyprus to Egypt. A journey through history, beauty, and memories you'll carry long after the ship sails home. Istanbul, earlier Constantinople, essentially Washington on steroids. Constantinople wasn't just a capital. It was oversized, overbuilt, we run the world version of DC. At its peak, 500,000 people lived here, which in ancient terms is basically a Super Bowl. Top must-see here is, of course, Hagia Sophia. This building has had more lives than a cat. Built in the 6th century BC, it was the largest church in the world for nearly 1,000 years. This was where emperors were crowned, deals were made, and Christianity flexed its muscles. Later it became a mosque, then a museum, and now back to a mosque. Basically the ultimate identity crisis in stone. Part holy, part political, all jaw-dropping. The mosaics of Christ still hide behind curtains. But when you walk in, you feel like the layers of history pressing down on you. It's basically the ultimate can't decide what I want to be when I grow up building. Then there is Grand Bazaar. Chaotic, glittering, overwhelming, 90% of the stuff unnecessary, 100% of it is overpriced. Rule number 1. Whatever price they give you, cut it in half and then claim you saw the same thing around the corner. It's part shopping, part theater, and half the fun is haggling, even if badly. The food overall though, that's not a game. Try Turkish flatbreads, the women roll and cook right in front of you. Carbs here aren't just food, they're therapy. And here's why Istanbul is unforgettable. It's the only city in the world that spans 2 continents. At its peak, the largest city in Europe, bigger than Paris, London, or Rome. It was Constantinople over thousands of years, the capital of both Byzantine and later Ottoman empires. Its walls were considered impregnable until 1453 when Ottomans showed up with cannon the size of buses. And the city was so rich, merchants used to say, all roads lead to Constantinople. Rome just stole the line. So yeah, Istanbul isn't just another port stop, it's basically DC of the Middle Ages. If DC also had palaces, mosaics, and men yelling, "Special prize for you only, my friend!" We checked into our balcony cabin. Honestly, really nice. Big enough, clean, and the balcony that makes you feel like you've suddenly upgraded your entire life. The bed was comfortable, spacious enough that you don't have to elbow each other every time you turn. Good storage too. You can actually unpack without playing Tetris. The bathroom is always a big question on cruise. Well, this one is not a closet. Dinner was at Commodore room, that's one of the complimentary venues. The one with little round windows. Kind of like eating in submarine, but a classy one. Food was solid, nothing life-changing, but no complaints either. Then we played mini-golf. Now, I'm terrible at mini-golf. I use my legs more than the club, which I'm pretty sure isn't the way it works. Basically, if there were points for enthusiasm, I'd be on the leaderboard. The theater that night, slim pickings. It was literally the same show I've already seen either on Jade or on Epic, the guy who played 37 plus instruments at once or something like that. It's okay for the first time, but now I could practically join him on the tambourine. We skipped the show and instead hit the Belvedere bar. Now that was worth it. Very sleek, very Scandinavian chic, and kind of place where you sip cocktail and pretend you're richer than you actually are. So overall view, it feels modern, fun, great layout, stylish spaces, and just the right amount. I'm on holiday, but I also look cooler than usual. Next morning started at local bar and grill. We actually had proper breakfast there. French toast, oatmeal, fruits, the usual. What makes this fun is the outdoor sitting. You can sip your coffee, watch the port wake up. The breakfast itself is pretty similar wherever you go on board, but for variety, it's worth mixing it up. And this spot is a nice change of scenery. That day's stop was Kusadasi. The port itself, honestly, there isn't much there. It's colorful, sure, but mostly kitsch by the sea. You can wander around, buy a carpet you'll later regret, maybe pose with a parrot you didn't ask for, have a kebab. But none of it is exactly bucket list material. The real reason you're here is Ephesus. About 40 minutes drive inland. I booked it with NCL, it wasn't crazy expensive and honestly was worth every euro. Ephesus is one of those places where history just slaps you in the face. At its peak, 250,000 people lived here, basically the Manhattan of the Roman Empire, minus the overpriced coffee. But honestly, I don't know how they survived without any. No wonder the empire collapsed eventually. The Library of Celsus wasn't just a library, it was a marble Instagram flex. Look how cultured we are, we have scrolls and taste. Rumor has it that there was an underground passage straight from the library to the brothel. Let's just say philosophy by day, extracurriculars by night. And of course Temple of Artemis, one of the wonders of the ancient world. What's left of it now? Basically rubble. But hey, you can still brag that you saw wonder of the ancient world, just don't go into details. The most interesting fact of all, arguably, are the public toilets. Yep, they had those, plenty, but that's not the fun bit. There were absolutely no walls, just rows of Romans doing their business together, chatting politics while, multitasking. That's ancient democracy at its rawest, most open form, literally. So yeah, skip Kusadasi itself, go see Ephesus, you'll come back with photos that actually impress people, not just the fridge magnet stamped made in China. That night we went to dinner at Hudson's. Think panoramic sea view 180 degrees. The menu same as Commodore, but here you get floor-to-ceiling windows that make the chicken taste like lobster. Hudson's basically approved that food does taste better when you stare dramatically at the horizon. After dinner, we hit Icon's show in the theater. It's a tribute concert kind of show, songs from legends over the past 6 decades like Elton, Gaga, and all the good stuff. Honestly, solid. It was the kind of show that actually leaves you humming, not yawning. So one dinner, one show, that's the winning formula. Breakfast was at the buffet. Yes, it was busy. Yes, it was loud, but I had to elbow people for croissants only once, which already puts me ahead of most of the buffets I've been to. Coffee, fruit, pastries, enough fuel for another day of pretending I know the history. And then Rhodes. And this port, absolutely brilliant. You dock right next to the old town. You can literally see the medieval fortress walls from your balcony. No buses, no taxis, no shuttle drama. Just walk off the ship and you're in a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Rhodes has been everyone's holiday home. Greeks, Romans, Byzantines, Crusader Knights, and Ottomans. Did I forget anyone? If there was an empire, they planted their flag here. The old town today is like walking into a medieval movie set. Cobble streets, stone gates, and the Palace of Great Master, built up by the Knight of St. John, who clearly never heard of minimalism. It's Europe's best preserved medieval fortress city, and it looks it. And then there is Colossus of Rhodes, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Yep, another one, except it has been gone for 2,000 years. An earthquake knocked it down, so you won't find it, but you will find fridge magnets on it, which is basically the same thing. So Rhodes is one of those ports where you don't need to overthink. No overpriced excursions, no stress, just sunshine, history, and bragging rights. Dinner was at Indulge Food Hall. My absolute favorite spot on Viva, hands down. You order on tablet, it's basically Tinder for food, except here, your date actually shows up, hot, fresh, and looking exactly like in the pictures, or better, which, let's be honest, never happens on Tinder. And then the food just kept coming. Tacos, tandoori, noodles, cheesecake. It's basically a world tour, one plate at a time. Plates arrive until you lose all self-control. This is the kind of place that makes you forget about calories, life choices, and probably at some point your name. Honestly, I didn't regret skipping most of the specialty dining. One fancy dinner was enough because I could have happily spent the rest of the cruise right here. Afterwards, we hit Michael Jackson tribute show. Full energy, killer band, dancers flying across the stage, and MG himself back from the dead, if only for 45 minutes. It was loud, glittery, fun. Three hours on a bus, and suddenly you're face to face with Pyramids of Giza, the oldest of the 7 wonders, and the only one still standing. Everything else, gone. But these, still here. So tell me, if you could visit any one wonder of the ancient world, which would it be? The Great Pyramid, once the tallest building on Earth. For nearly 4,000 years, nothing topped it. Not cathedrals, not castles, just perfectly stacked limestone, rising 150 meters into the desert sky. 2 million blocks, each as heavy as a car, dragged, lifted, placed, no modern machines. Were these tombs? Yes, but also status symbols, because when you're a pharaoh, you don't just leave a will, you leave a monument. And then there is Great Sphinx. Half lion, half pharaoh, all mystery. The big question? Where is the nose? Napoleon's troops? Desert winds? Or smashed long before either? No one agrees. So here it stands, nose or no nose, guarding the pyramids like a world's most dramatic doorman. So what do you think? Were these aliens? Or should we finally give ancient engineers the credit? Back on the ship. Dinner at Palomar, NCL new specialty dining venue, definitely worth the try if you're into seafood. Seafood was so fresh, I have expected it to swim off my plate. It's classy Mediterranean chic. The kind of dinner where you suddenly remember to sit up straighter because the food deserves respect. Then came the big show, Beetlejuice. This isn't just your usual cruise ship sing-along. It's a full-on Broadway production at sea. It's loud, bold, funny, it's very weird, in the best Tim Burton way. The story? A dead couple hires Beetlejuice, the world's most chaotic ghost, to scare off the living out of their old house. Outrageous jokes, big songs, and enough glitter to make Vegas look shy. It's sharp, entertaining, and easy to follow. A show where you can actually laugh and hum along instead of wondering, what on earth am I watching? While everyone else ran off to see another beach in Cyprus, I stayed on Viva, because sometimes the ship is the destination. Morning started slow. By the infinity pool, coffee in one hand, book in the other, pretending I'm a morning person. Which I actually am. Then breakfast at Indulge Food Hall. Outside seating, sea rolling by, eggs just taste better when the view is this good. Next up, the spa. Saunas, steam, loungers, and peace. Stunning, but priced like they think you're buying a steak in the ship. Tip: check the app early for flash deals, or during any popular port day. Ask on embarkation day for full cruise passes, or see if your travel agent can throw in a spa credit. Daily passes? Highway robbery. Lunch at the buffet, 3 cuisines, 1 plate, because moderation didn't make it on board. Then straight to my favorite spot on Viva, the observation lounge. Deck 17, right at the very front, panoramic windows, quite something. You sit for a few minutes to read, 5 chapters later, you're still there. Dinner at Hudson's. Panoramic views, every meal feels like an occasion. And the night, Sid Norman's poorhouse, shouting through 70s rock anthems. Assumed the moves, guessed the lyrics, still left convinced I nailed it. That's a Viva Sea day. No buses, no beaches, just cruise life done right. Welcome to Crete, land of olive oil, beaches, and Europe's oldest civilization, the Minoans. Here at Knossos Palace, you spot the famous red columns. No, not IKEA replacements, they stood here for 4,000 years. The Minoans had plumbing, frescoes, and courtyards, while much of Europe was still figuring out the farming. Some called them first Europeans. And here's what's unusual. Women are everywhere, leading ceremonies, dressed in bright clothes, even bull leaping. In an age when most women were invisible, the Minoans put them front and center, 4,000 years ago. The rest of the world is still catching up. And then the myth, King Minos, the Minotaur, the labyrinth, half man, half bull, all nightmare fuel. Standing here, you realize this isn't just rubble, this is foundation of European history and proof that even 4,000 years ago, people loved a good monster story. Breakfast done, and it's the time for the dream stop, Santorini. And let's be clear, you don't need NCL overpriced tours here. The ship tenders into Fira. It's a cliffside town, cute, but not a poster child. The real star is Oya. The white houses, blue domes, winding alleys, and the sunsets so dramatic that make Hollywood look underproduced. Getting there, easy. Local boats run straight from the port toward Oya with buses back at the end. I've done it twice. Reliable, half the price, zero panic. Now, island itself. Santorini is a volcano that blew itself apart and then rebranded as a luxury resort. Those cliffs the town stands on are basically the rim of the giant caldera. Traditional homes are built into caves. Sustainable chic before it was cool. And those famous blue domes? Locals built them centuries ago for faith, not followers. And now they're run by Instagram. And here I had the moment. I sat in Oya, coffee in hand, watched the sunset of my life. It was one of those sunsets that shuts you up mid-sentence. The sky turns gold, the sea goes purple, and you remember why you booked the whole trip in the first place. So here's the Santorini formula. Skip the overpriced excursion. Get yourself to Oya and let the island do the rest. This is the memory you'll keep when everything else blurs together. Dinner? Yep, again Indulge Food Hall. As if I hadn't already put on 2 kilos by day 6. At this point, the staff didn't even need my tablet order. They just looked at me and said, extra tapas? Cruise calories don't count, it's international waters. They only come back to haunt you the moment you step on your bathroom scales. But that happens later. After dinner, it was straight to Sid Norman's, and here's the thing, the rumors are true. This is the venue everyone talks about in NCL. I've sailed NCL countless times. I've seen Sid Norman's 15,000 times, and yet I still line up. Because the band, absolutely brilliant. High energy, ridiculously talented, and just the right amount of chaos. It's raw, it's loud, it's sweaty. It's kind of night that you tell yourself, just be one drink, and then it isn't. Next stop, Mykonos. Here is another money-saving hack. You don't need to book a single thing with NCL. Just hop on the tender boat and boom, you're in Mykonos. The whitewashed houses, narrow alleys, the famous windmills posing for every Instagrammer on earth. Historically, Mykonos has been around since at least 11th century BC, and it was named after Mykonos, the grandson of Apollo, because apparently Greek mythology had a character for every rock. Later it became a major trading hub in Roman times, later ruled by Venetians and Ottomans, which explained the mashup of architecture you see today. And if you want to go full on history, head to Delos, a little island nearby, birthplace of Apollo and Artemis, once the most sacred sites in ancient Greece. Today it's basically open-air museum. Temples, mosaics, ruined mansions, all baking under the sun. And here's the kicker. You don't need NCL's sell a kidney kind of excursion. Local ferries leave right from Mykonos port, take you over, drop for 2 hours and bring you back. Same ruins, same history, fraction of the price. So with Mykonos it's simple. Tender in, snap the windmills, maybe hope to Dallas, and still have enough euros left for lunch and cocktails. For our last dinner we went to Commodore room, the one with the little round windows. It makes you feel like you're dining in a submarine, except instead of ration packs, you're getting steak and cheesecake. And here's the tip. The first and the last night, the free dining rooms are always the best. The chef saying, forget the mystery chicken on Wednesday, remember us like this. Don't waste specialty credit here. Save those for meat-course when buffets plotting your downfall. And then came the big finale, the graduation party. No, not the awkward school dream with bad lighting. This is Sid Norman's band blasting the greatest of 60s, 70s, and 80s. If your actual high school graduation was boring, here is your redo. It's sweaty, it's loud, it's glorious. Basically prom night with better music and less hormones. And yes, you'll dance like you're 17 again, you look the part, except now you can actually buy your own drinks. That wraps it. 7 days of ruins, sunsets, overeating, and shit that somehow made me feel cooler than I actually am. Or vice versa. So hit subscribe, it's free, unlike cocktails on board.